heartwarming journey. She discovered her hidden strength, disarming an instructor in 30 seconds. Emma's heart raced as she stepped into the musty gym, where the sound of mats hitting the ground echoed like a war drum. She was just a single mother, trying to make ends meet while her son Jake burst with dreams and energy. With each kick and punch that landed around her, she felt the weight of self-doubt pressing down, threatening to drown her. But today was different. She was tired of feeling trapped in her own life. Jake, with his bright smile and endless enthusiasm, had begged her for martial arts classes, and against her better judgment, she had signed him up. If this was anything like her life at the diner, she knew she had to work hard to keep up. Week after week, Emma fought to catch up with a room full of kids, each one more confident than the last. The head instructor, Mr. Thompson, was a grizzled former military vet with a reputation for being a hard-nosed perfectionist. At first, she felt pride watching Jake shout out commands with his classmates, but the sweltering heat of inadequacy grew stronger whenever Mr. Thompson turned his steely gaze on her. He was unforgiving, and when her attempts at technique landed her flat on her back one evening, tears spilled down her face. Frustration poured out as she joined fellow mothers in the gym's corner, sharing stories of their own struggles battling to be seen, to be strong, while facing financial hardships and the society's expectations as single parents. "We rise together," they said, and their words wrapped around Emma like a warm blanket on a chilly autumn evening. Before long, the community demonstration loomed like a storm. Weeks of training led up to this moment, and with her friends cheering from the sidelines, Emma's heart raced. As she faced Mr. Thompson, a fear took over. His words were sharp like daggers, mocking her techniques in front of everyone. Her chest tightened, but just when she thought she'd crumble, she felt the surge of support from her friends. "Stand your ground," a voice shouted from the back. In an uncharacteristic burst of defiance, Emma stood tall, and in that instant, she surprised herself. "I'm not just a waitress. I'm Jake's mother." The gym erupted with cheers as the air crackled with tension. Her voice shook, but she felt the warmth of encouragement swelling around her. As she stood up to Mr. Thompson, defying his glare, a mix of pride and vulnerability washed over her. Yet the confrontation didn't end well. Despite her effort, it felt like a battle lost. Later that evening, a surprising conversation unfolded with Mr. Thompson, revealing the struggles he had faced with his own demons. A connection was made, and just as understanding flickered between them, the moment was shattered, leaving Emma grappling with disappointment and resilience. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the leaves began to turn, each vibrant hue outside reminded Emma that change was possible, but lurking doubts about her worth still lingered. Would she ever see herself as the fierce warrior she needed to be, not just for Jake but for herself? The uncertainty loomed, promising to unfold this heartwarming journey into something more, something that could carve out strength in her life from the pieces she never knew existed. Emma stood in front of the mirror, staring at her reflection with an intensity she hadn't felt before. The gym, with its worn mats and the smell of sweat, felt more like a sanctuary than a battleground. Even after the confrontation with Mr. Thompson, she managed to hold on to that slight spark of courage. Maybe she was a warrior after all, learning to navigate the complexities of not just martial arts, but also of life itself. Her mornings became ritualistic. She woke up early, kicking off her day with a run, feeling the crisp air fill her lungs, each step solidifying her resolve. Jake would wake up shortly after, ready to tackle the day with unmatched energy. "Mom, can we practice the moves together?" he'd ask, his eyes shining with excitement. Together, they transformed their modest living room into a makeshift dojo. Each kick, each jab felt like a dance of newfound empowerment and connection. Between classes, she noticed her confidence slowly building. During the weekends, she joined the moms from the gym for brunch, bonding over their shared experiences, their struggles weaving a tapestry of sisterhood. They didn't talk about just kids or jobs. They shared fears and dreams. Emma felt a sense of belonging she had never known before, but every time she stepped into the gym, a flicker of anxiety snuck back in. Mr. Thompson remained his gruff self, but he had softened slightly, offering tips rather than just critiques. "Keep your chin up," he'd say between gritted teeth. "You'll need it if you're going to get in the ring." She could see the tiniest glimmer of respect in his eyes. Yet a looming community challenge started to take shape, and Emma's heart stuttered at the thought. This fight wasn't just a test of her physical skills. It was a Hollywood climax waiting to unfold. "Mom, can I help you train for the challenge?" Jake asked one evening, determination laced in his voice. It felt surreal. Her son wanted to help her. He caught her off guard, and the tears threatened to spill once again. "Of course, buddy, together, right?" They set up an impromptu challenge in their backyard, facing each other off with makeshift pads. Laughter echoed around them. Each round brought a sense of playfulness that eased Emma's nerves. Yet every time she landed a punch, she could feel Mr. Thompson's gaze on her. His fierce eyes felt both like a challenge and a safety net. He pushed her to realize her own strength, to fight for every ounce of respect she could earn. The week of the community challenge arrived, painting the world in colors of anticipation. Families loaded with excitement filled the gym. Emma's palms were sweaty as she tied her belt, casting quick glances at Jake. He grinned back at her, giving her a thumbs up. The atmosphere buzzed with energy as parents from every corner shouted encouragement. It was intoxicating. As she stepped forward into the ring, the weight of the world folded against her shoulders again. But instead of crumbling, she focused on what she'd built within those weeks: the community, the training, the late-night talks with Jake, and she took a deep breath. This time, the ground didn't feel shaky beneath her feet. But would all of that be enough? Her heart pounded as the announcer's voice boomed through the speakers, calling out her name. Emma took her stance, uncertainty mingling with adrenaline. What lay ahead could either break her or finally prove to her just how strong she really was. In that moment of silence before the ref's whistle, she knew she was at a crossroads. Just then, as the noise faded, she spotted Mr. Thompson in the crowd, his expression unreadable. Would he be proud of her this time? Did he truly see her as more than a waitress? As the whistle blew, Emma's world steadied, and she launched into action, her heart pushing her forward into the fight of her life. But as she faced her opponent, a question loomed: would fear or strength define her story in this battle? The moment the whistle blew, Emma felt the surge of adrenaline carve through her like an electric current. She sprang into action, her body betraying the hours of practice she had put in. Each movement flowed seamlessly, as if the years of doubt were peeling away like old wallpaper in a newly painted room. Her opponent, a seasoned fighter named Tara, lunged forward, a whirlwind of energy and skill. Emma sidestepped instinctively, dodging the incoming fists. The crowd erupted into cheers and gasps, a chorus of voices lifting her spirits. Her heart raced, and she focused on each breath, letting determination overshadow her fear. "Come on, Emma!" she heard Jake shout from the sidelines. His voice was a buoy, anchoring her amidst the chaotic sea of her emotions. She cast a glance in his direction, catching the glimmer of pride in his young eyes, and it fueled her resolve. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for him. For every moment they had spent training together. Tara charged again, swift and powerful. Emma barely had time to react. But as she blocked the incoming strike, she remembered Mr. Thompson's words echoing in her mind: "Keep your chin up." It's not just about defense, it's about seizing the moment. Drawing on that strength, Emma pivoted, landing a swift counter jab to Tara's midsection. It connected with a satisfying thud. The crowd's roar washed over her like a wave, replacing the doubt with a bright flicker of confidence. But victory was not easy. Tara bounced back, fierce and relentless. The ring felt smaller with each passing second, and Emma found herself backpedaling, desperate for space. A slip-up loomed, and the weight of expectation anchored her down. Just when panic threatened to take over, she felt the familiar warmth of community surround her, reminding her why she was here. "Focus!" she whispered under her breath, catching a glimpse of the crowd. The moms, the dads, even those shy kids from Jake's school, they were all here, champions in their own right. Emma straightened her posture, feeling the determination swell like a tidal wave. With newfound clarity, she ducked another blow and delivered a powerful spinning kick that connected with Tara's side. The energy shifted. Emma's heart soared. She sensed the tide turning. The intensity of the bout heightened, each punch and kick echoing in the gym. With every strike, she unveiled a part of herself that had long been hidden, rediscovering the warrior within. Her rhythm was fluid, no longer a hesitation to fill the space between moves. It was a dance she had been waiting to master. As the first round drew to a close, the two fighters separated, both breathing heavily. Emma faced Tara, who offered a quick nod of acknowledgement, her eyes reflecting both challenge and respect. Emma's gaze flickered past Tara to the crowd. She spotted Mr. Thompson, his expression still unreadable, but something in his posture suggested he was finally beginning to understand what she was fighting for. The whistle blew again, signaling the second round, but this time, Emma felt different. A wellspring of strength surged inside her. She had more than just punches and kicks now. She had purpose. As she readied herself, her thoughts spun back to Jake, her little warrior cheering for her, and the journey that had brought her to this moment. But would the flicker of strength she had found be enough to carry her through the next round? As the bell rang, she steadied herself, a question echoing in her mind: what if the true fight wasn't just in the ring, but within her own heart? Emma's heartbeat thudded in her ears as the second round began. The crowd's cheers fueled her, wrapping around her like a warm embrace. She planted her feet, planted like roots pushing through the earth, grounding her in the moment. Tara didn't waste a second. She charged with a fierce grin, determination sparking in her eyes. Emma braced herself, anticipating the assault. As Tara unleashed a flurry of punches, Emma found her focus sharp. She evaded the first few, feeling like a matador dancing around a bull. The movements came naturally now, almost instinctive, as if her body had learned to trust the spirit inside her. Then, Tara feinted a left hook, and Emma fell for it, her body moving before her mind could catch up. Tara's fist landed on her shoulder with a punch that rattled her bones. A gasp erupted from the crowd, and Emma can feel her momentum momentarily slipping. She winced but wouldn't let it show. Instead, she straightened herself, taking a steadying breath. Her eyes locked onto Tara, revealing nothing but strength. A pivotal moment was here, the kind that could shift everything. Emma calculated Tara's next strike would come, but Emma could deflect it. As Tara came at her for another punch, Emma pivoted, executing a well-timed block and sending an elbow toward Tara's side. The connection felt electric. Tara staggered back, surprise flickering on her face. Emma allowed a burst of fierce joy to swell in her chest, but she knew she had to keep going. With each successive blow, the gym transformed into a world where only sound and movement existed. The crowd faded away, leaving behind a growing tension that Emma thrived on. She moved with agility, her strikes now blending precision with power, a rhythm that felt primal. "Keep going. You've got this." She heard Jake's voice rise above the din. Each word carried a weight of belief, surging through her veins, making her feel invincible. But even in the storm of adrenaline, doubt crept up. Tara was waiting for her to tire, and as the round progressed, Emma could feel her muscles beginning to fatigue. She bore down, pushing harder, remembering all those training sessions in the early morning light with Jake. The thought filled her chest, warming the edges of her anxiety. With a sudden urgency, Emma charged at Tara, aiming a swift kick at her opponent's leg. Tara was caught off guard, momentum shifting in Emma's favor. For a split second, Emma caught Tara's surprise turn into respect. And then it was all in the split-second movements, the way both fighters danced, defying time and space in that small ring. Emma's heart surged as she landed another hit, this time to Tara's jaw. Tara stumbled backward, and Emma seized the moment, lunging forward to press her advantage. The sound of the crowd roared around her, a symphony of encouragement and excitement. With each blow, Emma saw Jake cheering with all his might, his little frame bouncing with pride. Yet, just as she felt invincible, a shadow loomed in her mind. What if this wasn't enough? What if her fight ended here? As the seconds ticked by and the end of the round approached, time slowed. Emma faced Tara, both of them panting, both feeling the weight of the world around them. But as she stood her ground, a new feeling flooded Emma: clarity. The fear was met with a fierce sense of belonging. No matter what the outcome, she knew who she was: a fighter, a mother, a warrior. The whistle blew again, signaling the end of the round. Tara put her hands on her knees, breathing heavily, but there was respect in her gaze. Emma took a breath, the air warm with determination. She'd rise again, and in that arena, under all that noise, there was no going back. Now, with the third round looming ahead, what will emerge from Emma's heart when the fight resumes? The whistle pierced the air, marking the start of the final round. Emma shifted her stance, a surge of adrenaline rushing through her. She felt lighter, renewed, as if every drop of sweat she'd shed had transformed into strength. With Tara across the ring, the respect was palpable, yet the fight was anything but over. They both moved cautiously now, each gauging the other, seeking out openings. Emma's mind raced. She remembered the countless nights Jake's laughter mixed with the sound of gloves hitting pads. She thought of the way his little hands would try to mimic her punches. This was for him. She could not afford to falter. Tara lunged first. A swift jab aimed at Emma's face that was expertly dodged, Emma's reflexes sharper now, like a coiled spring ready to unleash. In response, Emma delivered a quick counter to Tara's ribs. Tara grunted but didn't back down, firing back with her own strikes. Each punch and counterpunch landed with intensity, like thunder on a stormy day. The crowd was on their feet, voices blending into one supportive roar. Emma's heart raced, each beat echoing the fight she was waging not just against Tara but against her fears, insecurities, everything that had held her back for so long. A few inches apart, they locked eyes, two warriors battling for supremacy, yet tethered by a mutual understanding. Both of them were fighting to prove something: Emma, to herself, and Tara, perhaps, to those who doubted her. With a sudden shift, Emma feinted a right hook only to circle back and aim a solid left kick at Tara's midsection. Tara, surprised, stepped back defensively, allowing Emma to capitalize. She moved in, feeling the rush of pure energy. But then, a wave of fatigue swept over Emma. Her muscles screamed, begging for rest. As Tara rallied, landing a solid blow to her shoulder, doubt clawed at her again, sharper than before. This wasn't just a fight, it was her life. The room faded. In that moment, it was just her and Tara. A flash of fear crossed her mind: what if she lost? What would Jake think? But just as quickly as it appeared, the thought was replaced by clarity. Not only was she fighting for herself, she was fighting for every underdog, every mother who worried if she was enough. "My mom's a fighter," she envisioned Jake telling a friend, a notion that ignited her spirit anew. "Come on, Emma!" Jake's voice cut through the haze, as if he were right there in the ring with her. She breathed deeply, letting the encouragement wash over her. With newfound determination, she stepped back and calculated her next move. Tara charged again, and this time Emma was ready. As Tara swung, Emma twisted her body and ducked, feeling every muscle work in harmony. In that exhilarating moment, time stood still. With Tara off balance, Emma shot forward, delivering a perfect combination hook to the head followed by a body punch. The impact reverberated, and Tara stumbled. The crowd erupted, but Emma couldn't focus on them. All she saw was Tara's eyes, the flicker of surprise transforming into admiration. "You're amazing!" Tara gasped, a brief moment of camaraderie shining through the competition. As the adrenaline surged through her, Emma continued to push, knowing she was fighting not just for a trophy, but for a legacy she wanted to leave for Jake, and for herself. But then something in the crowd caught her eye. A figure stood at the edge, tense and compelling. Emma's heart sank to her stomach. Could it be? The moment of revelation was at hand, and she was about to discover what lay in store. Would the truth about that person shake her resolve, or propel her to fight harder than ever? Emma's breath hitched in her throat as she peered through the bright lights. The figure was familiar, a shadow from her past. It couldn't be, could it? Her heart raced as her thoughts tangled into a storm. Instinctively, she tightened her fists, channeling her anxiety into raw energy. Focus! Tara's voice broke through Emma's chaos, shaking her back into the fight. Not letting the moment distract her, Emma locked on Tara, who was now moving with a fierce grit, eyes determined. Emma forced herself to remember what mattered: strength, grit, and Jake. They resumed their dance in the ring. Tara lunged, and Emma ducked, her mind still flickering back to that figure. But she couldn't afford to be distracted, not now. With a surge of adrenaline, Emma looked for openings again, feinting and striking in a rapid sequence. Tara countered beautifully, but this time, Emma was in control. With each punch, she transformed her fear into strength. A cross jab landed, followed by a smooth uppercut. The connection resonated deep within her, fueling her thoughts of Jake. She imagined his face lit up with pride. "Go, Mom!" She could almost hear him cheering, his little voice cutting through the haze of doubt. With renewed purpose, Emma pressed forward, landing combination after combination. She felt powerful, alive, as if she was a force of nature. But that figure, lingering in her periphery, kept pulling at her attention, pulling at something deep inside her. Tara charged back, her movement fierce. But instead of fear, Emma felt a rush of clarity. It was as if she could see everything in slow motion. She dodged Tara's punch, her body twisting as if moving through water. In that instant, she realized the figure wasn't just a specter from her past, it was a reminder of how far she had come. The past mattered, but it didn't control her present or her future. The crowd erupted once more, their cheers ringing in her ears as she landed another solid body shot against Tara. Sweat dripped down her forehead, but it mixed with an invigorating sense of liberation. Tara staggered, her resolve momentarily shaken. Emma saw the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. It was a mirror of her own struggles and fears. They were both battlers, knocked down but never truly outdone. In that moment of mutual respect, a surge of emotion coursed through Emma. She understood now, the fight was about more than victory. It was about connection, resilience, and empowerment. She took a deep breath, ready to seize the moment. "Let us end this," Emma said, her voice steady, her spirit soaring. With a final push, she aimed for one last combination, pushing herself harder than ever. Tara responded, but Emma could sense at the edge of doubt that had crept into Tara's mind. But then that figure in the crowd moved closer, their identity now painfully clear. Emma's concentration faltered for a second. It was her past standing right there, a ghost she thought she'd processed but never truly confronted. The moment hung in the air like a heavy weight. As she swung, half focused on the fight and half on the haunting figure, she felt both strength and vulnerability collide within her. What would the reappearance of this person force her to face? The final round was everything she'd trained for, and yet, the real battle was just beginning. Would Emma secure the win in the ring, or would she face the new reality lingering just beyond the roar of the crowd? The fight wasn't over, not by a long shot. Emma's world became a blur of movement and adrenaline. She could feel each heartbeat pounding against her chest like a drum. Tara's determination rallied in the ring, the intensity of the fight igniting an electric charge between them. But that figure, that ghost from her past, anchored her thoughts. Emma had trained hard for this moment, but now, she had to confront the emotions swirling inside her. With the crowd pulsating around them, she threw another punch, but her focus shifted once more. The sharp gaze of her past pulled her back, like a fisherman reeling in a struggling catch. As she stared at the figure who now stood clearly in sight, arms crossed and mouth set in a taut line, questions flooded her mind. What did they want? Why now? Emma? Tara's voice cut through the noise. Her opponent seized the moment, lunging forward to deliver a punch. Emma barely sidestepped in time, the blow grazing her shoulder, as she regained her footing, determination setting in her jaw. Focus! She muttered to herself, forcing the past aside. But that familiar face, her father sat at the edge of the crowd, watching her with an expression that mirrored their past conflicts. The walls she built up around her heart began to crack, and she knew she could no longer ignore what he represented. Emma's next strike was fueled by rage and hurt. She unleashed a flurry of punches, but the deeper battle within her roiled. She wanted to choke on the words she'd held back for too long. Why didn't you ever believe in me? But she needed to finish this fight first. Keep moving, Tara called, and Emma realized she was wavering. The direct hit from Tara snapped her back to the present, the sting reminding her of the fight at hand. Emma refocused on Tara, drawing on everything she had learned, every sacrifice and every moment of self-doubt she'd faced. When she landed a clean strike right on Tara's midsection, she felt invincible, the power surging through her like a shockwave. Each punch sent a message not just to Tara but to herself. She was reclaiming her voice, her strength, and her future. Amidst the chaos, Emma caught glimpses of Jake cheering, shadows of doubt disappearing as her son's voice rang true in her heart. You got this, Mom! The thought of him, his innocence and love, became her anchor. As the final minute drew to a close, Emma's body felt heavy and bruised, but her spirit soared. Tara swung again, but Emma championed through, eyes locking on her opponent with newfound clarity. But as she prepared for her last move, she glanced back, spotting her father's eyes filled with a conflicting mix of pride and regret. In that instant, she realized this fight was not just about victory, it was about confronting her own past. She could let him haunt her or use this moment to break free. With a powerful shout, she moved in for the final blow, a combination she had been saving, a swift left, a right cross, and a decisive uppercut. The moment hung in the air, and for the first time, she fought not just against Tara, but against the shackles of her own history. The connection struck true. The crowd erupted, and as Tara fell back, Emma stood tall, tears of relief threatening to spill. But her eyes still locked onto her father, wondering if this would be their moment to bridge the distance between them. And just like that, Emma realized a new battle beckoned. Not just the fight at hand, but the fight for healing and honesty. Could she face him after the match, or would fear keep her from seizing her moment once and for all? Emma's heart raced, adrenaline still pumping through her veins as the referee's whistle pierced the air, signaling the end of the match. The crowd's cheers echoed all around, but all she could hear was the pounding of her own heart and the conflicted look on her father's face. She could see him still, arms crossed, shifting slightly as if debating whether to approach her. The throng of spectators began to fade away, their excitement slowly dissipating as reality set in. Tara sat on the mat, groaning softly, but Emma couldn't focus on anything except the unresolved emotions spiraling within her. Her victory felt hollow when she recognized that the real fight lay ahead. She took a step towards the edge of the ring, her legs stiff from exertion but moving forward with a determination she hadn't felt in years. Each step brought her closer to the man who had once shaped her world, and yet, had also chipped away at her spirit. Emma. Tara's voice called weakly from behind. You did amazing out there. But Emma barely acknowledged her. Her focus was solely on her father. As Emma reached the edge of the ring, the noise of the crowd faded into a low hum. Their energy faded to a distant echo, while the inner voice that had long been silenced started to rise within her. Now or never, she thought, as her pulse quickened anew. Her father, Harold, remained standing, the distance between them feeling insurmountable. His gaze softened, but the weight of unsaid words hung heavily in the air. Memories of their last argument flooded back, the bitterness tasting like iron in her mouth. She remembered every late-night training session when he would criticize her with chilling indifference. The memories felt like shadows, taunting her strength. Dad, she said, her voice louder than she intended. The word felt heavy, a mixture of longing and pain that spilled from her heart. I won the fight. I saw, he replied, his voice steady but his eyes searching hers. You were extraordinary. For a moment, silence stretched between them, filled with everything that had gone unspoken. Emma's fists clenched at her sides, torn between wanting to embrace him and the fear that swirled inside her. Was this moment going to be another letdown? Or was it a chance for something more? I need you to know, she started, I've always fought for your approval, but I've realized it doesn't define me anymore. His expression twisted, a flicker of regret crossing his face. Emma could see the struggle within him, feeling for a brief moment that perhaps he understood. She took a step closer, heart pounding louder now, driven by a fierce hope. Emma, he whispered, but before he could continue, Tara pulled herself up, shaking her head slowly. You both are missing the point. This isn't just about fighting. It's about being real with each other. Emma shot Tara a quick glare, but she felt the truth in her friend's words. She turned back to her father, emotion welling up in her throat. I need to know, can we talk? Really talk? No more hiding from that past. Harold shifted his weight, and she noticed the flicker of hesitation in his eyes. It's complicated, he began, but Emma could see the door of possibility cracking open just a bit. Her heart raced. If he could just meet her halfway, maybe, just maybe, they could find some resolution. I won't move on unless we face it together, she said firmly, her voice breaking with emotion. For the first time, she saw him really consider her words. The weight of their past hung in the air, but something new sparked between them, a flicker of hope. Would he take the step toward her, or would he retreat back into the shadows where they had spent too long? Emma could feel the thrill of choice lingering, the aching desire for closure mixing with the anxiety about what lay ahead. She took a deep breath, embracing the uncertainty. I need a father, she finally added, her voice trembling just a bit. Can you be that for me now? The moment stretched, teetering on the edge of transformation. Would he say yes, or would fear tie him to the past once more? Emma's heart raced as she waited for his response, the world around them fading into an uncertain anticipation. The air hung thick with tension, every heartbeat echoing the uncertainty that lay between them. Emma met her father's gaze, her brown eyes searching for a glimmer of hope. The crowd faded even more, their cheers replaced by a near silence that made her ears ring. Emma, he finally breathed, his voice barely more than a whisper. Please, she pressed, her voice stronger than she felt, I just want the chance to really know each other again. Harold's stance softened, the crossed arms unraveling slightly as though he was fighting against a storm of confusion within. Emma could see shadows of pain etched into the creases on his face. Memories flickered through her mind, family gatherings turned cold, bright birthdays lost in lectures about what she could be, never what she was. I don't know how, he finally admitted, his voice shaky. Her heart sank. Was this really it? The abyss between them could feel deep and endless. But a voice inside her pushed back, refusing to give up now. You don't have to have all the answers, she said quickly, trying to keep the moment alive. Just start with what you feel. The honesty of her words hung in the air, and his eyes flickered, realization dawning. The battle lines they had drawn around each other were barriers of both their making. It was exhausting, but maybe, just maybe, they could break through together. Tara stood nearby, her own expression a mix of concern and encouragement. It's okay to be scared, she interjected softly, her voice filling the gaps of silence. But if you really want to be a part of Emma's life, you have to meet her where she is. Harold's eyes darted between Emma and Tara. She could see gears turning in his mind, a clash of fatherly instincts and something deeper, something buried. I've always worried, he finally confessed, that if I let go, I would lose you completely. Her breath caught in her throat. It was as if he'd torn down a wall just by saying that. You won't lose me, she assured him, her voice thick with emotion. Not if we both try. She stepped forward, just within reach. You've lost so much time, don't let fear take more. The air between them shimmered with unspoken truths, and Emma felt a warmth creeping into the corners of her heart. A flicker of hope wasn't just a thought, it was a palpable energy, urging them to connect. After a long pause, Harold's facade cracked. The tension in his shoulders released, and in that raw silence, he finally took a small step towards her. I'm scared of what I'll find, what we'll find. Me too, Emma admitted, her heart pounding in her chest as she faced him fully. But we can't let that stop us anymore. Whatever happened, it's not going to define us. We have the power to change it. For a heartbeat, they were two souls caught in a fragile moment, a moment where vulnerability hung heavy in the air. Emma could feel tears stinging her eyes as she witnessed shifting emotions crossing her father's face. "I don't want to be that man anymore," he said finally, voice thick with remorse. "I'm ready to change." Hope quickly bloomed, crackling like electricity. Yet, just as she felt the weight lift, a motherly figure emerged from the crowd, her voice cutting through the murmurs around them. "Harold, what are you doing?" Emma's heart sank again as she turned toward the woman, her mother. The tension pivoted, and suddenly she wasn't just facing her father. They were all tangled together in a web of complexities that threatened to pull them apart yet again. Her mother's presence loomed over the moment, and Emma's stomach twisted with uncertainty. Would this new revelation of her father become lost amidst old grudges? She took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever was coming next. Could she bridge the gap not just with Harold, but with her mother too? The world stood still for a heartbeat, then rushed back to life, filled with promises unspoken and tensions unresolved. Emma felt hope warring with anxiety within her, the realization dawning that this was only the beginning of a journey she had yet to fully understand. Her eyes flicked between her parents, bracing for the weight of words that hung as heavily as the silence. Would they step into the light of a new beginning, or would they retreat back into the shadows of the past? Emma held her breath, waiting for their choice. As the fog of uncertainty swirled around them, Emma stood like a lighthouse amidst the storm. Her heart raced, but she felt a steeliness settle in her chest. This was the moment, no turning back now. She looked at her parents, her feelings unraveling slowly in the open air. "Breathe, Emma," she reminded herself. "You can't let this moment slip away." "Mom," Emma said, her voice steady but soft. "We all have scars, my dad does, and I do. But if we can share them, maybe it'll open a door to healing." Her mother's eyes flared with surprise, the tension between them shifting like leaves in a breeze. "Harold, you need to show her you're truly ready," her mother replied, her voice layered with emotion, fighting past resentment. "And Emma, be gentle. This takes time." Emma looked from her dad to her mom, a fierce hope rising within her. Harold took a deep breath, his brow creasing. "I know I haven't been there for you, Emma," he said finally, his voice raw. "I let fear dictate my actions. I wanted so badly to protect you that I built walls around your heart, and my own." Emma felt those words reach for the tender parts of her. "Dad, what if instead of walls we built bridges?" She stepped closer, her heart open, yearning for connection. He nodded slowly, as if awakening from a long slumber. "I want that. I want us to heal." The weight of those words hung between them, heavy but honest, and there it was, the flicker of new beginnings igniting in the air. Emma felt the warmth of possibility wrap around her like a comforting embrace. "Then let us start now. Let us share the things we never dared to." Her mother moved closer, eyes shimmering. "You're right. I've been afraid of losing Harold to the past too." For the first time, Emma noticed a softness in her mother's expression, something like vulnerability. The triumph Emma felt was electric. They were all on the edge of something monumental. "Let us take it step by step," Emma suggested, heart hammering in her chest. "Today we're here. Tomorrow we'll keep growing. We owe each other that much." Hope shimmered in the air, each person reflecting the same longing, a future unfurling in front of them, ripe and full. As the three of them stood together, a single step forward felt like a leap into the unknown. "Tell me what you feel," Emma urged gently, the expectations of the past falling away behind them. "I felt like a failure," Harold admitted, his eyes glistening. "Every time I saw you strive, I saw my own mistakes reflected back. I was scared. I never meant to hurt you." The air was thick with honesty. Emma reached out, taking her father's hand in hers. "I need you, Dad. I need you to be brave with me, with us." The warmth of that moment transferred like electricity, and suddenly, the past seemed less daunting. They shared a look, an unspoken pact that transcended words. As they stepped away from the ring, the cheers of the crowd faded into whispers of support. A new family bond was being forged, tempered in struggles but blooming brightly with understanding. Tara approached, swelling with pride. I can't believe what just happened. You brought them together, Emma. With a genuine smile, Emma felt her heart swell. We have a long way to go, but today was a starting point. She looked up, catching glimpses of familiar faces in the crowd, their support wrapping around her like a warm hug. What an unexpected journey it had been, but perhaps their struggles were the very threads binding them tighter together. As they stepped out into the coolness of the evening, embracing a world filled with endless possibilities, Emma turned to her father and mother, a sense of liberation flooding through her. Together, she reiterated, her heart full. They made their way home, leaving echoes of past hurt behind and stepping into a future that felt bright and endless. Now for you, my dear friends, this is where you come in. You need to subscribe now to keep up with exhilarating journeys like Emma's. Don't wait not even one more second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to feel this sense of empowerment. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm. It honestly makes a difference. And comment below about your favorite moments from this transformative tale. Your thoughts are important. This is the moment to show your support. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's next. Join this amazing community today.